This is an update to my previous video, which I'm linking to up top right now. So please watch that video first before you watch this video so that it will make sense. This is a quick update to let you know that I heard from Dan and we pinpointed the exact cause of the problem. So it was related to this issue of triangles where one of the sides of the triangle was at 0. And that was because if you look at line number 19, this individual AVTA has these geographic coordinates here. And then if you look down here at PVTB, this individual has exactly the same geographic coordinates. And it turns out that it is because of these two individuals that everything was being thrown off. The solution that Dan found was to slightly modify the GPS coordinates of one of his specimens. Now, it was not a mistake that his specimens AVTA and PVTB had exactly the same geographic coordinates. They were from the same population. But for this purpose of doing the triangling, he had to make the geographic coordinates slightly different. So what he did was he made the coordinates for AVTA negative 73.281 for the longitude and 44.231 for the latitude. So he added a 1 at the thousandths place of the decimals to the longitude and the latitude. So compare what he did for AVTA. He added ones to the thousandths place. Compare that to PVTB, where it stays the same. So these geographic coordinates are functionally identical, but they're different enough that it allows the triangles to be made where you're not going to have zeros in any of the sides of the triangles. So if you are having this same problem where you get that geometry area about not being able to, about getting a 0 for a bisection, it could be because you have two GPS points in your data set that are exactly the same. In which case, try adding a 1 to the thousandth place, or adding 1 to the thousandth place to make those GPS coordinates slightly different, but for all intents and purposes exactly the same, and that should fix your error. It could also be, though, that if you have very small differences among your GPS coordinates, that the differences might be small enough that it's still possible that the SAMOVA software is going to consider the length of one of the sides of these triangles to be 0, and you may still run into the same problem. But you could try fixing it by adding ones to the hundredths place, or preferably the thousandths place of these decimal GPS coordinates, and to make your GPS coordinates enough different from one another that you won't have any sides of these triangles that are 0 or that are rounded to 0. So to show you that Dan now has it working by that one slight modification to the GPS coordinates right here. So he hasn't changed his data in any meaningful way. He's being true to his data. He's just made a slight modification to one of the GPS coordinates, so it's not exactly the same as one of the other GPS coordinates. And the one we need is range ZZ working. And when we do that, it runs. And we can look at the results file. And we can see that it's not empty, that it ran. And everything is there. All of the results that we need are there.